Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, and when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. And today we are talking about amendments. There's been a lot of talk about amendments lately. I've been getting a lot of questions about them. So today we're going to talk about 5 things that you really need to know about amendments. Now, why do we file amendments? An amendment is essentially to correct a mistake on your taxes. Maybe you forgot to claim something was claimed incorrectly. You've got to fix something on your tax return. So once you filed that initial return and oops, there was something that was wrong, so then you file an amendment. So that's what amendments do. They correct mistakes. Now, there will be times when there is a mathematical error on your return where the IRS will just fix it for you and send you a letter and say, hey, this was wrong, we fixed it, this is the result. You either get more money back or you owe us more money, right? Or there's no change. But sometimes the IRS will just fix it and send you a letter, and then there's nothing else for you to do. So let's get down with it. All right. So 5 things you need to know. Number 1 is that you need the original return in order to file an amendment. So I can't tell you how many times I get people that come to me and say, hey, I need to file an amendment. I'm like, okay, well, I need the original return, and they don't have the original return, or they don't have all of the original return. And what I mean by that is that there are a lot of times that you have worksheets that are a part of your tax return. And those worksheets are important because that is the worksheets. That's where all the math is to get you to your final results. So you got to have the complete return in order for someone to file that amendment for you. This is why it is normally best to go back to the person that filed the original return to do the amendment, or to ask them for the complete return, including all of the worksheets. Because a lot of times what you get from the tax professional is just a 1040. This is, basically shows the final results. But really, you want to have a complete copy of your return. Like I said, to include the 1040, all the worksheets, all of the stuff that you think is unimportant, it doesn't mean anything, it actually does. So you want to have all of that. And especially if you have depreciation, you definitely want to get the depreciation worksheets. And so with that, if you're taking your amendment to a new tax professional, they are going to charge you because they're going to have to recreate that return in order to file the amendment properly. It's not one of those things where you just pull up a 1040X and then just go and type some stuff in and voila, we're done. No, we have to recreate the original return and then go back to make the changes. And also, if you file an amendment, an amended return, and let's say you wind up owing more, well, then you may have penalties and interest that are attached to that, okay? And if you happen to be getting more money back, like an increased refund, okay, great. You're not going to get anything extra, but that's just the way it is. If you owe more, or if you have to pay back part of a refund, then there may be penalties and interest attached to that. All right. Number 2, you can amend going 3 years back or 2 years after you've paid the tax, whichever is later. So if there is, if you filed on time, if you filed all of your taxes on time, okay, great, then you can go back 3 years. But let's say you filed a late tax return. Then you have up to 2 years after you pay that tax in order to go back to and amend. Okay, so so the time really does matter. It's not like you can go, ooh, I made this mistake back in 2000 and I should get some more money back, and then we just go amend. No, it doesn't work like that. There are time limits, okay? Number 3, your amendment has to be mailed in. There is no e-filing for 1040Xs for amendments, okay? So there are instructions on the 1040X where your specific amendment needs to be mailed. Every state has a specific mailing address. So you don't go and just send your amendment somewhere all willy-nilly. There are specific places that you send it. It's based on where you live. The next thing is you definitely want to mail it certified, and you want to get make sure that you keep that tracking number so you can make sure that it arrived at its destination. Now, do not, under any circumstances, send original documents to the IRS. Make copies. You keep the original, send the copy to the IRS, because you know what? Because it's mail. And sometimes things get lost. That's just the way it is. So you don't want to send the original. You always want to keep that for yourself. And there's, with amendments, there's human intervention. Humans make errors. So therefore, you need to make sure that you keep your originals and send the amendments, send the copies with the amendment. And also, listen, keep your stuff, okay? Keep all of your documentation. That's the way it is. If you don't, then you wind up getting jacked up, and that's not what you want in your life. Number 4, if you change your federal return, then you're probably going to have to change your state return. Your state return is generally based off the information that is on your federal return. So if you've got to amend something on your tax return that's going to affect your income and, make any changes to your federal return, if you have a state tax to be filed, your state tax return is going to need to be amended as well. So you're going to have to do them both. Okay, that's just how it is. Just don't forget that. I do get clients that say, okay, I just want to amend this return, but you have a state return as well. So if you wind up like owing more to federal or have to pay back a refund to the feds, then you're probably going to have to do that with the state. What you don't want to do, you don't want to let the state find out on their own. You just want to go ahead and get her done, because the state comes at you like a pack of piranhas, okay? The state will come for you faster and with more teeth than the feds will. So you definitely want to make sure that if you amend your federal tax return, that you also go back and amend your state to make sure that everything matches, so that you're not having to deal with the state, because that's where you live and that ain't what you want. All right. And then number 5, you can actually check the status of your amendment. Okay. Because the thing with amendments is, because you have got to mail it in and it's got to deal with human intervention and all of that, processing can take 8 to 12 weeks. So it's not something where you mail in an amendment and 30 days later, everything is going to be fixed and you're hunky-dory and going on with your life. Absolutely not. It takes time, because it has to go through that manual paper, child, right? It's got to go through some stuff. So just know that your amendment can take 8 to 12 weeks. And if you want to check the status of your amendment, you can go to irs.gov/filing. FILING, and then about the middle of the page, there's a link for where is my amended return, and that's where you want to check to find out the status of your amended return, because the tax person, we don't know. We'd have no idea if the IRS has received your stuff. That's why you have the tracking number, so that you can track whether or not it has even arrived at the IRS. And then once it gets there, then you can go through and check where that amendment is. Okay, so we don't know, and we don't have your money either. All right, so when it comes down to filing your taxes, first of all, you want to try and be as accurate as possible when you do it the first time, so that you don't need an amendment. However, if you do, these are 5 things that you really want to keep in mind when you're getting it done. Should you amend your taxes if there's something wrong? Absolutely. Go ahead, because you want to make sure it's right. Now, one of the other things that I will caution you against is, if you're amending your taxes after you get some sort of loan. If because what happens is this, if you're trying to, and it's usually with mortgages, okay? If you're self-employed and you're trying to get a loan for a mortgage, and so you're showing more profit, which means you got to pay more taxes. If you're showing that when you apply for that loan, and then after you close on your home or whatever, you want to go back and try to amend those taxes. While yes, you can amend those taxes to claim those deductions that you did not claim, the thing that you may be that you might be jumping into is mortgage fraud, because then you're actually lying on a loan application, and that's against the law. So I will definitely add that extra caveat in there that, yeah, you can go and amend your taxes all you want. Okay, you absolutely can, but just know that you might jump out of one frying pan and into another fire. And that ain't what you want. Okay. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, and you can come right here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right. Have a great day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.